What happens when a pilot cares more about his perfect record than 187 lives? I've never prayed so hard in my life while sitting on a plane that felt more like a ticking time bomb. It was last year, a red-eye flight from Denver to Atlanta. I travel a lot for work, so turbulence doesn't scare me anymore. But this night, this wasn't just turbulence. This was something else entirely. About an hour into the flight, I noticed the right engine making a weird grinding noise. You don't have to be an aviation geek to know that's not normal. A couple of passengers around me noticed too, whispering nervously. Then maybe 10 minutes later, the whole plane jolted so violently that a woman 2 rows up actually screamed. I gripped the armrest and braced. My gut screamed, "We need to land now." But the captain's voice came over the speaker, calm as can be. "Ladies and gentlemen, just a little rough patch. Perfectly safe. We'll continue to Atlanta as scheduled." Something about the way he said perfectly safe didn't sit right. I leaned over to the flight attendant as she passed and whispered, "Are we really okay?" She looked at me with the kind of tight smile that says, "No, but I can't say that out loud." That's when the whispers started spreading. A guy a few rows back claimed he'd heard the crew muttering about an engine fault. Another swore he saw sparks when we jolted. And yet we were still cruising like nothing was wrong. Finally, an older man across the aisle, ex-Air Force, stood up mid-flight and demanded answers. He told the attendants he'd flown for years and knew damn well when an engine wasn't right. They tried to calm him down, but the tension broke open. 187 passengers realizing our pilot was gambling with our lives. We later found out he didn't want to declare an emergency. Why? Because it would tarnish his perfect record. Every flight logged without incident, spotless career, golden reputation, and he was willing to risk us all just to keep it. The cabin turned into a mix of panic and mutiny. People were crying, some were praying out loud, others yelling at the attendants to make him land. I sat there shaking, thinking, is this how it ends? Because some guy wants a clean raise of me? Finally, after what felt like forever, the left engine sputtered hard, and we dropped altitude fast. Oxygen masks didn't fall, but people screamed. The captain finally came back on. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be diverting to Nashville for precautionary reasons." Precautionary reasons. As if he hadn't just nearly rolled the dice on 187 lives. We landed rough but safe. When the plane touched down, people actually clapped, half relief, half fury. The kicker? News broke later that the right engine was this close to failing completely. If it had, we wouldn't have made it to Atlanta. Hell, we might not have made it anywhere. I remember walking off that plane with jelly legs, vowing never to forget the look on that mom's face 2 rows ahead of me, clutching her toddler, whispering, "It's okay, baby. We're safe now." And all I could think was, safe, yes, but not because of the pilot. We got lucky.